Exposed, how a single phone call from MOM LED to an incredible life-changing gift from the CEO. The phone buzzed, slicing through the humid silence of Michael's backyard. He set his tools aside, his heart racing like a drum. It was a call from Sarah, his mother. "Michael." Her voice rang out like a beacon. "You need to reach out to Jake. He can help. You know he's doing well, right?" A million thoughts raced. Jake, the high school friend who had chased dreams while Michael got lost in the grind. The hesitation churned in his stomach, pushing against his pride. He glanced toward the playset where his daughter, Lily, swung with joy, her laughter ringing like music. At 38, he juggled odd jobs, each one more unstable than the last, desperately clinging to the life he had carved out for them. Bills piled high on the kitchen counter, each one another reminder of the weight on his shoulders. But Lily's innocent smile melted away the doubts. Under the fading light, he reached for his phone, scrolling through contacts until he found Jake's name. He pressed call, daring the digits to change everything. The phone rang, echoing his uncertainty. "Hello?" A voice brimming with confidence answered, pulling him into a world he felt so far from. "Hey, Jake, it's Michael," he managed, the words tasting bitter. "Michael. Wow. Long time no see." Jake's enthusiasm crackled through the phone, an electric jolt against Michael's somber reality. Michael struggled to fill the silence, then poured out the truth, the job losses, the fear, the gnawing desperation to provide for Lily. "Let us meet up, I want to help," Jake offered. The sincerity in his voice wrapped around Michael like a warm blanket, igniting a flicker of hope. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Over the next few weeks, Michael stepped into a new life at Jake's tech company, a world filled with sleek suits, buzzing laptops, and ambition. But beneath the polished surface, doubt lingered. He was an outsider in a realm of privilege, where conversations about stocks replaced heart-to-hearts over backyard barbecues. When Lily asked why their pizza nights dwindled, his chest tightened as he fought to uphold the image of a father who had it all together. As time passed, the weight of corporate expectations pressed heavily. One afternoon, Michael received a frantic call from Jake. A scandal was breaking, a betrayal within the company that threatened everything. His stomach knotted. Now, Michael had a gut-wrenching decision to make. Would he choose loyalty to his friend or protect the stability he had clawed to achieve? At that moment, a flood of community memories swept over him, neighbors lending a hand, late-night coffee talks with Sarah, all echoing the family values that shaped him. Torn, he couldn't shake the question that burned deep. What did true success mean in a world where trust was crumbling? With hope and fear battling in his heart, Michael stood on a precipice, haunted by what lay ahead. Would he rally behind Jake in a crisis, risking everything, or would he turn away to preserve the fragile new life he had begun to build for Lily? The winds of change were swirling, and the path ahead was uncertain. Michael could almost hear the heartbeat of his dreams, waiting for the next move. The next morning, Michael stood in front of the mirror, the reflection staring back at him filled with uncertainty. The gray streaks in his hair seemed to whisper tales of worry, and he couldn't shake the weight on his shoulders. It was easy to forget the boy who once dreamed big. He donned a crisp shirt, hoping it would help mask the chaos swirling in his mind. But today felt different. Arriving at Jake's office, a high-rise building radiating ambition with every glass panel, Michael took a breath to ground himself. He stepped inside the lobby, and the energy buzzed around him, people hustling, phones ringing, ideas bouncing around. But instead of empowerment, the sights only deepened his anxiety. As he rode the elevator to Jake's floor, he instinctively checked his phone. A message lit up the screen: "Let us talk. Meet me in the conference room." For a brief moment, hope fluttered within him. Maybe Jake had a plan. Yet, doubts sank in again. What if the plan involved taking a risk too big to handle? The door swung open to the conference room, revealing Jake deep in conversation with high-tier executives. They looked like wolves, poised and ready to defend their territory. Tension crackled in the air. Michael cleared his throat, and the room quieted. "Hey, everyone, this is Michael," Jake introduced him with an energy that felt at odds with the atmosphere. "He's been really stepping up." Michael felt a rush of warmth at the praise, but it was swiftly drowned by the heavy conversations swirling around numbers and headlines. Suddenly, Jake's openness felt like a spotlight, casting shadows on Michael's insecurities. Jake motioned him to sit, and he felt small among titans clashing over spreadsheets. Then Jake leaned in closer, urgency flickering in his eyes. "Michael, I need your help. This scandal is threatening to blow up. If we don't handle it carefully, we could lose everything. Trust, credibility. I want you on my side. Your community-focused mindset might be just what we need." Michael's heart raced. "Me? Here?" he stammered, awareness crashing over him like a wave. He was not just a spectator, he could be a catalyst for change. Yet, the risk was palpable. What if they failed? What if they lost not just the job, but everything they had built? In that heated moment, a flicker of his mother's words echoed in his mind. Sometimes, stepping out of your comfort zone can lead to the biggest blessings. But was he prepared for the storm this could unleash? Michael could feel Lily's joyful laughter slipping away with each second his indecision stretched. He wanted to make her proud, to inspire her, yet could he teach her the value of integrity while balancing on this edge? The room was filled with intense discussions, but all he could think about was the vulnerability that came with stepping into this chaos. As the voices faded into the background, he stared at Jake's hopeful expression and remembered the warmth of community he had once cherished. "Okay. I'm in," he said, the words escaping with a weighty finality. The room erupted in excitement, but Michael's chest tightened. This was a plunge into the unknown, a gamble for everything he held dear. The emotions twisted inside him, a mixture of anticipation and dread. Just as he started to regain some confidence, a new notification flashed on his phone, an urgent alert about the growing scandal. Panic flooded his veins as he read it. This was only the beginning of the storm. What had he stepped into? Would he have the strength to undo the mess or watch it drown what he had fought so hard to build? As the meeting continued, Michael's resolve wavered, the shadows of fear creeping back in. The biggest test of his life was brewing, and he could feel the storm gathering momentum. Did he have it in him to not just weather the storm but to turn it into rain for growth? As the room buzzed with plans, all he could feel was an escalating tension echoing inside him, waiting for the moment everything would explode. Michael stared at the screen, his heart pounding harder with every second that passed. The notification taunted him, its red glow like an alarm bell ringing in his mind. The weight of the words blurred together as he struggled to absorb the reality of what he had just committed to. "Are you all right, Michael?" Jake's voice broke through his thoughts. The executives in the room turned their attention toward him, their curious gazes intensifying the sense of vulnerability creeping up his spine. "Yeah, just processing," he managed, though his insides churned. He felt a bead of sweat forming on his brow, and he quickly brushed it away, willing himself to be present. "Good. We need fresh ideas." Jake continued, back in the zone, flipping through pages of documents spread before them. "The media is already on this. We have to act fast to control the narrative." A part of Michael wanted to shrink away from the buzz of power, to slip back into anonymity where he could think clearly without the pressure of decisions that felt so colossal. But as Jake's words spiraled around the room, he couldn't ignore the tugging need to contribute. "Maybe we can reach out to community leaders?" Michael blurted out, surprising even himself. "Leverage their influence. Show that we're actively working to put things right." Jake's eyes lit up. "That's exactly the kind of thinking we need. It shifts the focus from the scandal to how we're committed to being transparent and responsible." There was a ripple of agreement from the executives, and Michael could feel a flicker of hope igniting inside him. But just as quickly, his stomach twisted again. What if they still failed? What if this was just another poor decision among many, pushing those thoughts aside, he leaned in closer, fueled by an urgency he'd never felt before. They needed a plan, something solid yet adaptable. He could see it crystal clear in his mind, a campaign that highlighted the values he had always admired in this community. A flurry of ideas started to pour out of him, caught in the raw excitement of being part of the solution. Each brainstorming session sparked a new revelation, a sense of urgency coursing through the room like electricity. "Why don't we organize an open forum?" Michael proposed, feeling the rhythm of words spill from his lips. "Invite the community. Let them ask questions, express their concerns. It shows we're listening." As Jake jotted down notes, Michael felt an unexpected wave of newfound confidence. They were all looking at him not just as an extra pair of hands but as a valid contributor. For the first time in a long while, he felt he was on the right path, but then, just as the meeting began to gain traction, his phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't just an alert, it was a call. It was from his mother. The ring echoed through the chaos of the conference room, an anchor pulled beneath his current tasks. Tension knotted in his stomach again, a reminder of the family he had back home. How would his decision impact them? What would they think of his involvement in this scandal? "Excuse me," he said abruptly, standing up. The eyes of the room followed him, some raised eyebrows questioning his choice to step out. He stepped away, a mix of excitement and dread coursing through him. "Mom?" he answered, just as he reached a quieter corner of the floor. Her voice came through, concerned yet surprisingly calm. "Are you okay, Michael?" "I saw the news." He took a deep breath, preparing for a conversation that could change everything for better or worse. Slumping against the wall for support, he felt the enormity of the moment press down on him. "Yeah, I'm okay," he lied, staring into the reflections of the city skyline, unsure of what he was about to say next. The noise of the office fell away, replaced by the urgency of their conversation. But as she began to speak, he noticed something in her voice that shifted in the air. An unspoken question lingered in his mind. How could he balance this new role with who he had always been? With everything at stake, was it already too late to turn back? The weight of his decision pressed heavily against him as he listened, his heart racing. Would his mother be the voice of reason or reflection he needed? Could she guide him through the uncertainty, or would this moment break him instead? Michael pressed his back against the cool wall, the buzz of the office fading into a distant hum. He felt as if the weight of the world rested on his shoulders as he listened intently to his mother's voice on the other end of the line. It had been a long time since he'd reached out to her for guidance like this. She wasn't just his mother, she was the person who had taught him resilience, who had turned every hardship into a lesson. "Michael, tell me the truth," she said, her voice steady but laced with concern. "This isn't just another job for you, is it? I can hear it in your voice. Are you okay?" He swallowed hard. The truth hung in the air, thick and heavy. "It's complicated, Mom. I took on a project. It's got a lot of attention, and I'm afraid of what I might have gotten myself into. Attention can be good, but it can also be overwhelming." "What's your gut telling you?" She said it so simply, and it made him pause. Michael felt the corners of his mouth turning up into a slight smile. She always had a way of cutting through the chaos. "My gut? It's scared. But then again, it's excited too. I feel like I could make a difference." He could hear her intake of breath. "But what if I mess up? How will I face everyone, including you?" "Michael, you're scared and that's natural," she said softly. "Every big change comes with that fear. You've never shied away from a challenge. Remember when you decided to go after that internship? The one you thought was too out of reach?" He nodded, even though she couldn't see him. That moment had changed things for him, lit a fire inside. He had almost forgotten that feeling of ambition. "I just don't want to disappoint you," he whispered, as if saying it aloud would dissipate his fear. "Your choices are yours to make, not mine. And hey, if you stumble, you'll get back up. Just like you always have." There was an undeniable warmth in her words that eased some of his tension. As they spoke, a gentle resolve took root in his heart. After all, he had faced worse failures and came out on the other side stronger, more prepared. The thought of allowing this moment to define him, to be overwhelmed instead of empowered, sent a jolt down his spine. Okay, I'll face it. I'll do what's right, he said, feeling a sense of clarity wash over him. But I need to really step up. I want to do this right. Then do what's right for you, sweetheart. And remember, you have a team behind you. Lean on them. Just as his mother's words settled in, another sound joined their conversation, a sharp knock at the door nearby. Michael's heart raced again when he noticed Jake had wandered over, curiosity etched on his face. Michael, are you good to come back in? Jake asked, his tone lighter now. Michael read the tension in his eyes too, another chance to prove himself standing right in front of him. Yeah, he said, resolutely pushing himself off the wall. I'm ready. Great. We need your input on the next steps, Jake said, already leading the way back to the meeting room. Michael's mind raced, bubbling with ideas that had sparked during his conversation with his mother. The open forum idea had taken root even deeper, but he felt now that it was more than just that. It was a chance to heal, to connect with the community and create something authentic. He glanced at his phone one last time, his mother's faith in him a lingering warmth as he re-entered the buzz of the conference room. All right, let's get to work, he said, feeling alive again. Michael was resolute now. They would face the storm together as a team, and he would guide this ship through. But just as he settled into the moment, his phone buzzed one more time, this time lighting up with a dinner invitation from the CEO, a chance for a personal audience. Guys, we might have a more significant opportunity than I thought, he said, his pulse quickening again. What awaited him at that dinner? Was it more than he was ready to handle? Michael took a deep breath as he observed the energy in the conference room shift. The hectic pace of his thoughts began to align with the busy atmosphere around him. He could see the familiar faces of his colleagues, each one wearing a mixture of hope and apprehension. Okay, what's the plan? Jake prompted, glancing at Michael with a mix of expectation and trust. It was a look that sent a surge of adrenaline through him. They were counting on him. The ideas from his earlier call with his mother echoed in his mind, the importance of connection, the need for authenticity. He raised his hands slightly, gathering everyone's attention. First, we need to build trust. We can't just launch into this project without thinking about how it affects our community. I want to propose we hold an open forum to gather feedback. Let us hear what they really want. There was a murmur of approval from the room. He felt the ghost of uncertainty fade. He could do this. Inspired by his mother's voice, he pressed on. Not just a typical one where we present and leave. I mean real engagement. Let us invite people in, let them know they matter. Sounds ambitious, Jake said, his brows raised slightly. Ambitious is what we need right now, he replied, feeling each word strengthen the resolve behind his idea. If we're going to take on this project, we've got to show we're willing to listen. As the team began to turn conversations into plans, Michael's mind flickered back to the unexpected dinner invitation. Each detail gnawed at his curiosity and nerves alike. It was a level up, like suddenly going from riding a bike to driving a car. Are you all right, man? Jake asked after a pause, noticing Michael's distracted expression. Yeah, Michael said, forcing a steady smile. Just thinking about the dinner. We can handle the forum. You go. Wow, the CEO, Jake urged, playfully punching his shoulder. Right. Wow him, Michael echoed, but internal tremors of doubt crept in. Was he really prepared for that? He couldn't help but picture the lavish dinner setting, the CEO scrutinizing him through a sharp gaze, dissecting his every word, with each passing moment, excitement intertwined with anxiety, wrapping around his insides like an exhilarating roller coaster. He had worked hard to get here, but suddenly, what if he didn't measure up? Hey, it's okay to feel nervous, another colleague chimed in, a kind smile lighting up her face. You've got this team behind you, and I have a feeling we're all in for something big. Michael felt a spark from her encouragement, but the echo of his mother's thoughts lingered in the back of his mind. He had to do this for himself, not just for the team. This was an opportunity to transform, to step into the leader he had always wanted to become. The meeting rolled forward, ideas sparking in the air, but his thoughts kept drifting back. He envisioned the table, the warm laughter of scattered conversations, and then the CEO's sharp look directed at him, as if measuring his worth. Michael. The sharp call from Jake snapped him back to reality. We'll set the date for the forum and draft an outline. Great, let us get that going, he replied, determination firing through him now. As the discussion continued, Michael's mind wandered again. He had to prepare for this dinner. What if they asked him about his vision, his plan, and he stumbled? But just as the meeting closed, the final agenda item was shared: a potential partnership with another company that could revolutionize their project. What if this wasn't just about the dinner? What if the night held the key to their future? The more he thought, the more he realized he needed to dive deeper, beyond the surface of the opportunity. As he rose from his chair, his heart raced anew. Was he really ready to embrace everything it could mean? So many questions, but one burned most brightly in his mind. Could the dinner be the turning point he had hoped for, or was it the beginning of more than he was ready to face? Michael stepped out of the conference room, his mind buzzing with the weight of the evening ahead. He moved through the office, past clusters of colleagues still deep in conversation, but his focus was narrowing like the setting sun. The air felt electric, tinged with anticipation. He pulled out his phone. For a brief moment, he thought of calling his mother. She would know how to calm the storm churning in his chest. But would she? Instead, he scrolled through his contacts, fingers pausing over the name of his mentor, Lisa. She had seen him through many moments like this and knew what to say to help him see the light. Hey, Michael. What's up? Her voice was warm and welcoming. I've got the dinner with the CEO tonight, he said, his voice heavier than he intended. Ah, the big night. She exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. How are you feeling about it? I'm nervous. What if I freeze? What if I can't impress him with my ideas? His insecurities spilled out, and he felt oddly relieved. Breathe, she said softly. This is your moment to shine. Remember, they invited you for a reason. You've worked hard for this. He chuckled weakly. It's just a dinner, Lisa. Right, but it's also a chance to show who you are. Go in there being your authentic self. Be passionate about your vision, that's what matters. Her words ignited a small flame of confidence within him. Maybe he could approach this dinner differently. It didn't have to be about impressing, it could be about sharing his passion. Thanks, Lisa. I just needed to hear that. With renewed determination, Michael ended the call and made his way to the elevator. Each floor felt like a countdown to a significant moment he had been preparing for in silence. As he descended, he imagined walking into the restaurant. The soft glow of candlelight, laughter, the clinking of silverware, all mixed with the scent of gourmet food. He rehearsed his key points in his mind, ensuring they came across as genuine, clear, and heartfelt. Before he knew it, he was standing at the front of the upscale restaurant, the building towering like a cathedral dedicated to ambition and success. As he stepped inside, his senses were assaulted by elegance. Rich wood, plush seats, and a staff dressed to perfection. Michael. A familiar voice broke through, and he turned. It was Jake, looking sharp in his suit. You made it. Yeah, just trying not to overthink, Michael admitted, feeling the familiar anxiety creeping back. Let us grab a drink and scope the room. No pressure, just take it easy, Jake suggested, leading him toward the bustling bar. As they settled into their seats, Jake gestured toward a group across the room. There's the CEO. Looks a bit intimidating, huh? Michael glanced over, his heart pounding as he noted the commanding presence of the man whose success was legendary. But he couldn't let fear consume him. I can do this, he whispered, more to himself than to Jake. They toasted, the glasses clinking, and just as he raised the drink to his lips, a voice interrupted. Michael. I'm glad to see you here. It was the CEO, looking directly at him, a hint of curiosity in his expression. Thank you, Michael replied, his voice steadying as excitement surged. It was the moment he had been waiting for, the bridge between his hopes and what he wanted to achieve. The night loomed ahead, filled with possibilities and uncharted territory, but suddenly, it felt like the culmination of every lesson learned. As the CEO leaned in, Michael braced for the conversation that might just change everything. But why had the CEO shown interest in him? What was the underlying motive that could push their connection severely beyond mere professional interest? Michael took a deep breath, squaring his shoulders as the CEO approached him. The air felt charged, heavy with expectation. The restaurant buzzed around them, but in that moment, it felt as if the world had melted away, narrowing their focus down to just the two of them. He could see the life carved into this man, years of triumph and hardship etched into his face. "Let us chat," the CEO said, gesturing to a quieter corner of the bar. Michael's heart raced as he followed, each step echoing loudly in his mind. What was this CEO seeing in him? As they settled into a more secluded booth, Michael noticed the CEO's keen, searching gaze. "You've made quite an impression on the team," he started, his tone measured yet warm. "Your recent project proposal was innovative. I want to know what drives you." Surprise mingled with a surge of pride. "Thank you, sir. I just believe in pushing boundaries to create something that really resonates with people," Michael said, the words spilling out with more passion than he anticipated. "Exactly." The CEO leaned in, engagement igniting in his eyes. "You understand our vision. Many overlook the real heart of what we do. What do you see for the future of our company?" Michael's mind raced, momentarily caught off guard. This was it, a chance to share his dreams. "I see a movement, a chance to reshape how we connect with our audience. It's about weaving human stories into our brand. Making what we do feel less like business and more like a community." "Beautifully said," the CEO replied, nodding thoughtfully. "We need that kind of vision. A leader like you could change the trajectory of this place." A flicker of disbelief crossed Michael's mind. Could he really be considered a leader? The confidence he had felt earlier surged back, fueling him. He shared his ideas: risky social marketing strategies, ways to engage younger audiences, how to make the workplace culture more inclusive. He felt like a painter, using words to illustrate a masterpiece of innovation. "You definitely have a bright future ahead," the CEO said, raising an eyebrow with a grin. "How would you feel about joining our leadership program?" Michael's breath caught. This was everything he had ever struggled to reach. "Are you serious?" he asked, almost in disbelief. "Absolutely. You have something special," the CEO replied, sincerity in his voice. "But you'll need to be ready to put in the hard work. This isn't just about glamour, it's about grit." Michael nodded, conviction swelling in him. "More than ready," he replied, the words tasting like fresh hope on his tongue. But just as the weight of the moment began to settle in, Michael caught sight of a figure at the bar. Lisa, his mentor, stood there watching him, her expression a mixture of pride and concern. The evening was turning into something he hadn't expected, but now it felt like there was more to jolt his newfound path. "Before we finalize anything," the CEO continued, his expression shifting slightly, "I want you to meet a few more people tonight. Those connections will matter more than whatever title you wear." As the CEO got up to summon others, Michael's thoughts drifted to Lisa. There was another layer to this night, and her presence felt like an anchor amid the whirlwind of opportunity. Was this moment made more significant by her unexpected appearance? The thrill of possibility surged in his chest again, but with it came a twinge of doubt. How would he navigate this unfamiliar territory, balancing his dreams with the expectations surrounding him? And as he pondered these thoughts, a lingering dread began to creep in. What if this opportunity came with strings attached? What hidden challenges lay ahead? As Michael's heart raced with excitement and uncertainty, he realized he had just stepped onto a path that could irrevocably change everything. Would he be ready to embrace all that it entailed? Michael's mind was a storm of thoughts as he watched the CEO's back retreating into the crowd. Just moments ago, he had felt on top of the world, the thrill of potential, the promise of change. Yet now, the nerves began to unravel his excitement. The words of the CEO lingered in the air, heavy with obligation. Leadership program. It echoed softly, turning into an unspoken question. Was he truly ready for this leap? Lisa's presence drew him back. She watched him intently, her eyes a mix of pride and concern. With a small push from deep inside, he found the courage to wave her over. As she approached with a confident stride, he felt a rush of comfort wash over him. "Hey, Michael. I saw you with the CEO. What did he say?" she asked, her voice warm but sharp with curiosity. "We talked about my proposal," he began, faltering. "He offered me a place in the leadership program." Her expression shifted, surprise etching across her features. "That's amazing," she exclaimed. "You've worked hard for this. But I can see there's more to this conversation. What's on your mind?" Michael hesitated. "What if I'm not ready? What if I screw it all up? It's such a huge responsibility." Lisa leaned in closer, lowering her voice. "You're more capable than you realize. Remember the projects you executed last month? You led those teams, and they thrived under your guidance. Trust in yourself, Michael." He tried to absorb her encouragement, but the fleeting doubts surged again. What if I don't connect with the right people? Or what if the expectations are too high? She placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "You'll be meeting great minds. People who are just as passionate as you are. Don't forget, it's not just about fitting into a mold, it's about breaking one." He felt the warmth of her hand against his shirt, grounding him, and he found himself nodding slowly. It wasn't just about him anymore, it was about the chance to shape something larger. A slight smile cracked through his anxiety. As more executives wandered into the booth, Michael felt both anticipation and pressure. The CEO introduced him to a diverse group: marketers, project managers, even a chief designer. In the moments that followed, ideas flowed, and different perspectives animated the discussion. Michael found himself laughing, sharing opinions, connecting dots he hadn't known were missing. Still, a small voice whispered worries in the back of his head. Was he really holding his own here? Was his voice deep enough to echo in this room filled with seasoned professionals? Just then, the CEO raised his glass to propose a toast. To new blood and fresh ideas. In this business, we thrive on innovation, on those willing to push the envelope. Cheers. The group chimed, and Michael's heart surged as he clinked his glass with Lisa's, a small moment of triumph in the larger sea of uncertainty. Later that evening, as things began to wind down, Michael pulled Lisa aside. "You've been my anchor tonight. But can I really rely on you while I navigate this?" "Always," she replied with a wistful smile. "But remember, you're not alone in this. Just keep looking for your North Star, your vision. It's what got you here." Before he could respond, a sudden vibration from his pocket interrupted, breaking the thoughtful moment. He pulled out his phone and glanced at the screen. The number was unfamiliar, but the name echoed from long ago. It was his mom. Caught off guard, a flood of emotions swelled within him. He hadn't spoken with her in weeks. With a deep breath, he swiped to answer, curiosity and apprehension swirling together. "Mom?" Michael's heart raced, and for a brief moment, he forgot everything else in the noisy bar. He focused intently, the outcome of the conversation hoveringly uncertain. What could she want now? The weight of a single phone call loomed before him. Would it lead to another turning point, or was it simply a reminder of home that felt distant? "Michael?" His mother's voice crackled through the line, familiar yet strained, and it instantly transported him back to a time when things felt simpler. "Yeah, Mom. It's been a while," he said cautiously, unsure of where this conversation would lead. "Things have been busy, I know. But I wanted to reach out," she said, her voice softening. "I've been thinking about you a lot lately." Her admission brought a wave of warmth mixed with guilt. Memories of missed calls and unanswered texts rushed back. "I've been swamped with work," he replied, the excuse feeling less like self-defense and more like a wall he'd built between them. "I get it," she said with a sigh. "I just wanted you to know how proud I am of you, sweetie. I saw some news about your project at work." Stunned, Michael hesitated, trying to grasp how she had seen it. You did? You've been keeping up with my job? Of course. I want to be involved, even from afar, she said, a hint of conviction threading through her words. I wanted to let you know I'm here for you. If you ever feel overwhelmed, you can always talk to me. Michael felt a strange knot tightening in his stomach. Her words, meant to comfort, pulled at a part of him he had tried to forget. It's just, things are changing so fast. I was just offered a place in a leadership program. Wow, that's a big step. I remember when you were just starting out. It sounds like you've come so far, she said, pride radiating from her tone. That's what everyone keeps telling me. But I don't know if I can handle it, Mom, he admitted, a quiet desperation creeping into his voice. What if I mess it up? There was a pause on the other end. You know, I felt the same way when I took my first leadership role. It was terrifying. But I learned that it's okay to be afraid. Doubt can feel heavy, but you can't let it sink you. Her experience, her struggle, suddenly felt like a beacon of understanding. You did it, though? Yep. Dived right in. And it turned out just fine. Sometimes, you just have to trust yourself, even when it feels impossible, she said, the warmth of her belief wrapping around him like a comforting hug. As her words seeped in, Michael began to feel the tightness in his chest ease. Thanks, Mom. I guess I haven't been good at sharing how I feel about this stuff. You've always been the strong one, but I want you to know it's okay to be vulnerable with me. We're still family, no matter what. Just then, the crowded bar felt different. The laughter and chatter around him faded into a soothing hum, as if the world had paused for a moment in honor of this reconnection. Let's catch up in person. I want to hear everything, the good, the bad, all of it, she said with warmth, a sparkle of hope in her voice. Michael smiled, envisioning his mother's excited face. Yeah, I'd like that. Maybe next weekend? Absolutely. And remember, you're never alone in this. I'm rooting for you. The call ended, but the weight of it settled in his heart, transforming the doubt swirling in his mind into something lighter. Maybe it was possible to take this leap. He looked over at Lisa, still talking with someone across the booth, but just as he started to feel buoyed by new resolve, a shadow crossed the table, a figure in a well-fitted suit, a confident presence that demanded attention. It was the CEO, striding toward him with purpose. Michael, he said, his voice booming as he approached. We need to talk about your goals for the program. It's time to outline what you expect and what you can bring to the table. Michael's pulse quickened again, a contrast to the comforting call he had just had. Could he really rise to this occasion? Could he truly be the leader everyone, including his mother, believed he could be? Sure, Michael replied, heart pounding, as the bar faded into the background. What would he say? How would he convince one of the most powerful people he knew that he belonged here? As the CEO leaned closer, Michael felt the tides shifting once more. The stakes had just gone up significantly, and he could already feel the pressure clawing back. Was he ready to step up, or was he about to drown in the expectations he'd built around himself? Michael stood at the threshold of change, a dizzying blend of nerves and excitement coursing through him. He had shared a meaningful moment with his mother, the kind of connection that felt like a lifeline, and now here he was, staring down an opportunity that could redefine the future. As he faced the CEO, the bustling bar around them softened into a blur. Michael, I want your voice to ring clear in our leadership program, the CEO said, leaning in, his attention laser-focused. Tell me what your vision is for our company's future. Feeling raw and powerful, Michael took a deep breath. The echoes of his mother's words bolstered him. Here, in this moment, was his chance to shine, and he would not let doubt overshadow it. I believe we can reshape how we connect with our community, he stated, his voice steadily gaining strength. This isn't just about numbers, it's about building relationships, fostering trust. We need to integrate our brand into real lives and stories. The CEO's expression was steady, but Michael noticed a genuine spark in his eyes. You're absolutely right, he said, nodding vigorously. People crave connection. And your experience is exactly what we need to bridge gaps. Each word fed Michael's confidence. He spoke about transparency, outreach, and the power of engagement. He pictured his daughter, Lily, playing in the park with friends, and how he wanted to build a work culture that mirrored the community spirit surrounding him, the same place where he had learned the values of trust, resilience, and hope. The CEO listened intently, occasionally nodding, and as he expounded his ideas, Michael felt the weight of fear lifting. He was no longer an outsider, he was part of something bigger. The open forums, letting the community speak, it all aligns perfectly with our ethos, the CEO remarked, a smile breaking through. I can see you leading this initiative. And just like that, Michael realized the truth, this was where he belonged. He had been stepping into shoes that were his all along, molded by the pressure of past challenges and the warmth of his family's support. After the CEO excused himself to speak with other executives, Michael found Lisa again, her previously concerned expression now transformed into one of pride. You crushed it, she said, her eyes sparkling. That he chuckled, feeling the immediate weight of pressure release. Thanks. I really feel confident about this. I knew you could find your moment, she said with confidence. Remember, it's not just about impressing others. It's about leading with authenticity. Michael nodded, the night feeling transformative. Conversations continued, laughter bounced around the bar, and he felt a shift within himself. The sticky doubts that had previously clouded him lifted. As he contemplated the future ahead, his phone buzzed yet again. It was a message from his mother, so proud of you. Can't wait for our catch-up next weekend. Just remember, you're already doing your best, and that's enough. His heart swelled, a tingle of joy radiating through him. Internalizing the lessons from both the night and his family, he felt ready to embrace whatever would come next. Suddenly, he spotted Jake across the room. Jake's grin mirrored Michael's elation as they locked eyes. A silent acknowledgement passed between them. Michael raised his glass, and Jake raised his in return. Tonight wasn't just about Michael's transformation, it was about community, family, and fighting for what mattered most. He glanced around, noticing the richness of genuine connections being forged, and knew he was a vital part of this shift. He could feel the heartbeat of new beginnings thrumming in his veins. The stakes were higher than he had ever imagined, but he was ready to leap. Transformational winds had begun to blow, shifting everything in the best ways. As laughter erupted around him, Michael had made peace with what lay ahead. He was not just building a career but nurturing bonds, a deeper structure of heart and community at work. That simple phone call from his mother had unfurled an incredible journey, a life-changing gift that was never just about titles but the sincere connections forged through honesty and care. And with that, Michael had stepped into his own narrative, ready for the thrilling continuation of this adventure, one shaped by bravery, solidarity, and love. Life was waiting, and he was ready to embrace it. Now, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to the channel so you don't miss out on the next exclusive stories. Leave a like right this second, it really helps the algorithm and gets your friends to see these inspiring tales. Do you feel the emotions from the ending? Comment below with your reactions. And for those who also need to see this transformation, don't wait not even one more second, share this video with at least 5 friends. You're part of this community, and we can make a difference together.